that life is a two-way highway, right? Just because you have a rich dad doesn't mean you need to be spoiled and you need to be raised like some other kids that he saw that were not in the right circles of friends. And so I've always been like that, and that's what I'm doing with my kids today. That's the advice I'm giving my kids.
Hello and welcome to Here in LA, Granada Hills edition. Today we sit down with a dude named Sergio, who might just be the smartest Uber driver ever. Sergio is a finance whiz who spent some time on Wall Street, but in 2016, as a hobby, started driving for Uber and Lyft, and he got sucked in. Not because of all the money he was making, which was a lot more than your average Uber driver, but because of the people. The passengers in the back had great stories, they had beautiful hearts, and they took him to every nook and cranny in LA, and it was a joy. Sergio tells me that he doesn't have the radio on when people come in, because he wants to encourage a good conversation, and he almost always gets one. So here you will see a good conversation about Sergio and about how he emigrated from Turkey to the US, how he learned English, and what muscle car he bought when he first came to LA. Special shout out to Harry, the Rideshare Guy, for introducing me to Sergio. Thank you, and anybody else has cool people that they want to turn us on to, don't be afraid to ask. If we're into it, we will ask what neighborhood do they live in, and if you know, then we probably will do it. As you can tell, Sergio is a star, so let's rock. I am here in beautiful Granada Hills on a windy day with Sergio
Avidian.
Sergio, God bless you. Thank you for having me here in your beautiful home today.
Thank you, Tony.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. Are you from Los Angeles?
No, I was not born in the U.S., actually. I was born in Istanbul, Turkey.
What's Turkey like?
Turkey is wonderful. One of the most beautiful countries in the world, to be honest with you, except that most Armenians wouldn't agree with that, since I'm Armenian as well. So born in Istanbul, Turkey, went to school in Germany, finished high school in Germany.
In German?
In German, yeah. It's called Deutsche Schule. So I forgot my German pretty much, but, with a little reminder, I probably can push myself to speak the language.
But you got a college degree while speaking and writing in German?
No, not a college degree. That was my high school.
High school, I'm sorry.
In German, right. And I did not know any English whatsoever when I came to the U.S. Because then I went back to Turkey and finished college there. It's called Boğaziçi University. So I have a degree in finance. And then at the time, Turkey was having some political issues with leftist and the right, whatever you want to call them. So my parents suggested that I leave the country. It would be safer. I'd be their scout. I'd be the family scout. Where do we go? Well, I wanted to go back to Europe because I'm familiar with Europe, mostly to all the countries in Europe. And now they want me to go to the U.S. Well, I don't speak English. So here's a 17-and-a-half-year-old in a plane with the mindset that, U.S. is going to be very difficult to handle without speaking the language. Well, I improvise most of the time.
What part of LA did you arrive in?
I arrived, obviously, LA, and then I had a cousin in Hollywood, West Hollywood. So I found a spot, a one-bedroom apartment. Once I told my dad that this is it, this is good. Plus, as being Armenian, I noticed that there were a lot of, Armenian signs right down the street. So where do I move in? Right at the corner of Vermont and Los Feliz. There's a Chevron station.
I know it well.
Apartment right above that one.
A friend of mine used to live in those white, beautiful two-story apartments.
Yeah.
Super close to the Greek Theater, Griffith
Super
Park.
close to everything, pretty much, yeah.
Yes.
I lucked out. I didn't know anything about it. But one advantage I had was I had come here with two friends of mine that I knew since I was 3 years old. So we took the first 3 levels of the apartments. Like, I was in the middle, my friend was on the first floor, and then my other friend was on the top floor. So here we are in LA.
So this is like the mid 90s,
No. This is early. I would say this is early to mid 80s.
early to mid 80s.
Yeah.
Three single guys,
3 single guys,
3 one-bedroom apartments
3 1-bedroom apartments,
in Los Feliz.
which is nice. It was nice then, but it changed quite a bit now, but it was still okay.
I think it's great now.
Yeah. I think it's better now.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
And did any of you guys speak English?
No, they had graduated from high school in France, fluent in French, fluent German, and we're here, 3 of us. So
how did you learn English?
Oh, yeah, great question. So, I'm a graduate already of college, but I got to learn English. So we obviously we're young, we're silly, and we buy ourselves cars, all 3 of us.
What kind did you get?
I got a Mustang. My friend got a Camaro, and my other friend, typical Armenian, and my other friend ended up getting a Firebird with that bird picture on the hood.
The Smokey and the Bandit car.
Yeah, Smokey and the Bandit car with the T-tops, exact same car. So here we go, 3 Armenians in LA, young kids with no idea of what to do, how to do it. In those days, I don't think even Google Maps existed.
No.
So
well, the Thomas Guide.
Thomas Guide. Yeah.
That was the Google
that was
back
it.
then.
That was Google Maps then. So we're living the life. We're going out trying to pick up girls, obviously with no English, But then we thought the cars would help.
Did they help?
To a point, yeah. I started going to Glendale College. Literally in 6-8 months, my English had improved tremendously. Because the other thing is English, I think, is a really easy language to learn. It may be shocking to a lot of people. Because like German, like it is in Spanish. Armenian I speak fluent Armenian and Turkish. So those have nothing, they're like Russian or Chinese. They have nothing to do with the English language. They're not Latin-based languages. So since I knew German and the other 2 knew French, both languages have female and male verbiage, for a table, you say 2 different words, you have to think differently. English, I found quite easy because a lot of the words I already knew belonged in English anyway. So in about 7-8 months, I was reasonably fluent. I wouldn't be like this today, right, or I wouldn't sit down and have a political conversation with you for 3 hours, but it was enough to make me survive.
You could hit on a girl.
Yeah, for sure. At that time, the game got really strong, right? And I was like, all right, now we can survive. My parents emigrated, then the house hunting started, then they figured, well, there are a lot of Armenians in Northridge. Let's move to Northridge.
I didn't know this.
Oh, yeah.
Are there still a lot of Armenians in Northridge?
Yeah, there are.
Huh.
And now we're in Granada Hills is becoming little Armenia of Glendale, basically.
Well, and I guess that makes sense because Northridge is kind of at the bottom of this hill.
Yes.
On the other side of the 118. And,
very close.
If you're making some good money,
yeah,
or if your dad, like you're saying, has some money
at that time, yeah,
you might start in Northridge,
yep,
but end up on the top of the hill.
Yeah. Well, believe me when I say this, 30 years ago, these houses were not here. This house was built actually in 1989 or 89.
That makes sense because I don't see any old houses up here.
No, we have, these are tract homes, but everybody has worked on them, obviously. But literally, there were no homes here.
On the way here, I saw some spectacular houses.
Yeah.
No disrespect to yours.
Oh, no, I absolutely.
But ridiculously.
Yeah.
Almost gaudy houses.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you drove up on Louise Avenue, on your left, you saw a bunch of those. They're all Armenian.
Are those Armenian people?
When you see those houses, they're all Armenian. Yeah.
I wouldn't even know what that is, but I'll take your word for it. But I'll tell you this: I saw one that had a giant Greek statue.
Oh yeah.
Of a fountain, and then a little statue of Jesus.
Okay. I have to look at that one closely. I don't know which one that is.
You mentioned Muslim. Are you Muslim or are you?
No, we're Christian. We're
Christian.
Yeah, we're Armenian. All Armenians are Christians.
Okay.
So a lot of people say, "Oh, you're from Turkey. You must be Turkish." No, we're not Turkish. We're Armenian. We're the oldest people on the planet, basically, other than the Lydians. So we're about we have a 4,000-year-old history. So no, we're all Armenians are Christians, okay, but they have different sects of Christianity. There are Gregorian, some are Catholic, so that's a different story. But religiously, we're all Christian.
Even though well, let me ask you this then. Are you a religious person?
No, I am not a religious person. I believe in God,
Yep.
but you're not going to find me at church every Sunday.
Do you pray at night?
Be honestly, no.
I would hope you'd be honest.
Yeah, I'm trying to be honest. I will, the politically correct answer may be yeah, I pray.
Have you
No,
raised
no,
your kids to be religious?
No,
Are they religious anyways?
no,
Did you send them to religious schools?
no,
Is your wife religious?
no.
Is she Armenian?
She's definitely Armenian from another country called Iraq.
Was it important for your family for you to marry an Armenian girl?
I will tell you a quick story about that. So when my parents showed up, we bought this beautiful farm-style house in Northridge with a pool, guest house. It was a dream singles party house. I don't know why they bought it. Actually, I've been here over a year since before they showed up. So I recommended, why don't we just, because we're in Istanbul. Istanbul is surrounded by 3 bodies of water. So, we're very used to seeing the ocean. Well, in there, we don't have the ocean, obviously. We have smaller bodies of water, like the Aegean or the Mediterranean, right? So I said, why don't we just go maybe like Malibu or Pacific Palisades or Marina Del Rey, right? They go, no, there are a lot of Armenians there. We want to go where the Armenians are. I'm like,
Where the Armenians are not.
where
They-
they,
they-
are.
they want to be with
They wanted
other-
to be in Northridge, where the Armenians were, and at the same time, when my parents moved, there was almost like an exodus out of Turkey by the Armenian community, because they were nervous. They were all well-to-do people. They had the money, and they were nervous about, the military taking over. Because, as we know, the history of Armenians, we had the genocide in 1914. That was the physical genocide, which a lot of Armenians were slaughtered. But the more important one, there is a financial genocide that took place that nobody knows about. In 1956, the Turkish government came and took over every single penny Armenians had, and all their real estate, every asset that they had, they took over. They nationalized it. So that really broke the back, and my dad had memories of those, obviously. And he said, before this kind of thing happens again, let's just get out of here.
How was he able to hold on to his wealth in the 70s and 80s?
Well, he was a very good businessman. We owned, for that time it was super modern. We owned leather factories. So rawhide would come in on one end and shoes and bags would go out the other end. Nice. Huge business with partners. He would make me work every summer. I would come from thinking I'm going to vacation in Istanbul, ride my little 20 horsepower, Johnson outboard and jump waves. No, he would make me put the boots on and get into this, place that literally smelled like a slaughterhouse, because you're dealing with rawhide. Rawhide means they just slaughtered the cow and they dumped it in front of your door. So now you have to deal with all kinds of chemicals to clean this up and make an actual leather out of it.
Not a sexy summer.
Nope. But then, it taught me a lot of good things, though. Because with my first weekly paycheck, I'm like 13, maybe 14 I was. He said, now go buy your mother something.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that was it was we were well-to-do, but I was never spoiled to the point of, oh, here's a new BMW, you just hit 15, or here's a new Porsche. I'm like, nah, it wasn't like that. It was always, I was the single child, by the way. I was an only child. Oh. So I would get, all of the love and all of the hate and all of the pressure or whatever, but he always taught me that life is a two-way highway, right? Just because you have a rich dad doesn't mean you need to be spoiled and you need to be raised like some other kids that he saw that were not in the right circles of friends. And so I've always been like that, and that's what I'm doing with my kids today. That's the advice I'm giving my kids.
You're wearing a Rideshare Guy hat right now.
Yes, yes, I am.
You have this beautiful house on top of this hill, but you're also an Uber and Lyft driver.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't need to be an Uber and Lyft driver if you don't want to be.
No, I don't need to be, but then after retiring, I was on Wall Street for 18 years, 19 years. I had gotten hired by this small Wall Street boutique firm.
Is this the 90s now?
Yeah. Well, early 90s, yeah.
Was the stock market well, actually the stock market had crashed in what,
Well,
87?
no, this was I'll give you the exact date. I got hired in 1984.
So you were there during
so
the
I was
80
there. Yeah,
Black Friday.
I've seen the '87 crash.
Yeah.
I was just getting myself together, and I've seen the '90 mini meltdown. I've seen all of it. I've seen all of these debacles. I've seen obviously the 2008 one. I've seen all of it.
What do you see right now?
As far as the stock market is concerned,
Yeah.
or as far as the economy is concerned.
See, now, I mean, should people feel
But
confident?
they're different.
I know they're different.
Yeah.
I mean, I am a dope, but I mean,
I could.
Well, let me go even further than this.
Yeah.
What do you think about crypto?
I think it's wonderful for a very, very long term, on a very long term basis.
So if I
Because I'm okay. I'm being, wide open here now, right?
yeah,
I think the fiat currency, well, for your listeners, that's called the U.S. dollar.
yeah,
I think it's worthless.
really.
Yeah. Yeah.
But isn't the dollar like the standard around the globe?
It is, and that's the only reason it is where it's at. Otherwise, I had a really argument discussion the other day with a good doctor friend of mine.
Yeah.
And I said, U.S. is exactly like Greece. The difference is we can print our own money.
So is this because of all the money that was printed to get us through COVID, or does it go further back than this?
That goes back to 2008, the GFC, or the Great Financial Crisis.
You're blaming Obama for this?
Obama had actually, Obama wasn't there. Obama came later. The 2008 Great Financial Crisis happened. We know what happened with the housing market, right? Everybody was refinancing every 6 months, taking money out instead of reinvesting or saving the money. They would go and spend the money. That's how the economy was getting pumped up those days, before the actual printing of money took place. So when everybody's houses went down 30-40%, obviously all these loans went bad, right? We all remember what Wall Street created when it came to packaging these loans and selling it all over the world and making billions of dollars. But when shit hit the fan bad. So obviously a lot of the banks, well, they called it too big to fail. We can't fail anybody. That was the biggest mistake that they did. They should have let everybody fail.
That's right.
Because if you can't run a business in good times,
Yeah.
Obviously after a month and a half, you're shaking, like a Countrywide or a Bank of America was forced to take over Countrywide. JP Morgan was, they picked 5 big guys and they put all these bad loans into their books with the caveat that the Federal Reserve was going to basically lend them money on these loans that were worthless. So that's when the printing of money started, and continues until today.
So you believe in crypto?
Absolutely.
There has been people who've gotten their crypto stolen. Do you think that'll just security will improve over time?
I think it's pretty secure. I mean, you in order, look, I equate that to 30 years ago, there were bank robberies. I mean, I would literally not see him, but you would hear the sirens, and then you would see cops in front of a bank, and then the unmarked cars on Hollywood Boulevard, B of A would get robbed, right? So to me, that has all changed. When was the last time you heard of a bank robbery? So this is the way they the bad guys are operating now, right?
Do you believe in NFTs?
No, that one I think is just like the stock market now.
It's baloney.
It's complete baloney.
So if I were to follow your advice, a man on top of a hill with a swimming pool and a hot tub, I'd love to have one day.
We definitely get you some Armenian barbecue to go along with that one.
We'll talk about Armenian food in just a second.
Okay.
Looks like you got some marble floor down here.
Okay.
So, man, with all these things.
No, you're making this sound like we're in a palace. We're just a decent house. That's it. Let's go there.
It's a little better than decent.
Okay, it's a little better than decent. Just average.
I appreciate your humbleness, but you're saying if I was a smart person, I'd put a couple bucks into Bitcoin
100%.
and just
And
relax.
well, no more than Bitcoin, a couple other ones, but
What other ones?
oh, probably Ethereum. I think is
Yeah?
probably the better one than a Bitcoin.
Now I heard that these things kill the environment, though. Should I be concerned about that?
Look, there's both sides of that argument, right? So, killing the environment, yeah, to mine, obviously, if you know what kind of electricity it takes to mine these things. But then, the thing I like about Bitcoin and Ethereum is, both. Ethereum, because it has a proof of concept and it's there. I mean, a lot of contracts will be written pretty soon on Ethereum
Really?
platform, yeah. And Bitcoin, not as much. But by now, I would have thought, see, where I was wrong with Bitcoin and Ethereum, not in the price of it. I was wrong in the usage of it. But by now, I think I could have gone to Starbucks and buy a cup of coffee with a 0.00001 of Bitcoin. What I like about it, unlike the US dollar, where the printing of it, well, they don't, by the way, you know that they don't even print anymore, right? They don't do printing. They turn their digital accounts and put just zeros in those Federal Reserve accounts. So they just can add as many zeros as they want and spend the money.
Which kills the value, right?
Which yeah, but well, that's why we have inflation now that is completely out of control, which I wrote on RSG about the other day. I mean, inflation is out of control. Yeah. Everything we're paying for since 2019 has doubled, pretty much. I mean, and to me, inflation is the biggest tax on the middle class, if there is any middle class left in the country.
I'm with you.
Right? So to me, why? Why create this animal, right? We don't need inflation. Inflation is a bad thing. I mean, look at these countries, Venezuela's. We're not there yet, but obviously, Venezuela's and, all these countries with rich, actually, resources, but they're experiencing horrible things.
I'm dying to talk to you about Uber.
Okay, let's do it.
You're an Uber expert.
I am, yeah.
And now I'm starting to understand why.
Yeah, you understand now that I don't do anything half-ass.
You don't?
I can't. That's my personality. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it 100% all in. That's why I was like that on Wall Street. I would literally sit on people's throats for a quarter of a point. I mean, I've done this physically.
Did you like The Wolf of Wall Street?
I love that movie. It was nothing like it, but I mean, look, it was embellished, obviously, for the role.
It's a nice parody of what you experienced.
What I experienced was a little bit more mature, but that I have heard things like that happen. So I'm not going to say it did not happen, but I don't think it happened to that degree.
So let's go to Uber, which, by the way, I've driven 5,000 trips.
Holy crap!
I stopped about 3 years ago.
Why did you stop?
I was working on a project for the Academy of Motion Pictures.
Oh, okay.
And in a weird way, I wanted to show them that I was sincere and all in on this thing. Yeah. And also, I had started so early in Uber, and they kept cutting the fares.
You have the scar tissue.
And it was, and unlike you, I could never figure out a way around it. I could never figure out an angle to make good money.
Well, look. In 2016, you didn't have to have an angle to make money, good money. That's when I.
Well, okay, I'm going to ask you these questions, and you're going to make me feel terrible.
Because it's not my intent, but to be honest with you, if you started driving Uber in 2016.
Oh, I started before that.
Oh well, then you should have no complaints. But then you will have a lot of scar tissue, though.
I have a lot. Well, here's the thing, though. My goal was to have my trips on Uber pay for my car. And so I first started out with a Ford C-Max, which was basically a Prius.
Perfect.
It was perfect. But then they kept cutting the fares.
Of course they did.
So I switched over to a Mercedes so that I could.
Bad idea.
It was a horrible idea.
To do
the Select.
Select, yeah. Oh, horrible idea.
Horrible idea because I learned.
Uber doesn't deserve that.
They do not.
Idea.
Neither do the passengers.
Oh, no,
because at that point, you could get a ride. I mean, I was so I was working at the Academy of Motion Pictures, which is in Beverly Hills,
and tried to make $1,000 a week on Uber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my thinking was, well, I'm already in Beverly Hills when work is over.
Yeah.
So that my first ride will probably be a select ride. And if I'm smart, I can probably figure out a way to get somebody to the airport. So that'll be $50 right there.
Those days, yeah.
Back in those days.
Yeah.
And nobody was tipping, so that's all.
There was no tipping then.
That's
Tipping
right.
didn't start until like 2018, I think.
That's right. So, and every now and then my first ride was to the airport, which was great. But now I'm in the airport, which isn't always a great place to be, to try to get another ride out. They eventually made it so it was much easier, where as soon as you dropped off somebody, they'd give you a ride out.
The rematch. The rematch suckers.
That's a sucker move?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm glad I'm sitting with the expert here.
Always drive with
Here we are now.
New rides off. Always.
New rides off.
Every single time.
Okay, so
Why would I add to the existing driver base when I'm driving somewhere? I'll just turn the ride off. When I get to the spot, I'll turn my rides back on, unless you're dealing with some other bonus or whatever.
So I've been in lots and lots of Facebook groups about Uber and Lyft.
So have I.
And well, then a lot of these people don't know what they're talking about.
Nobody knows what they're talking about.
They're there to start fights.
Yeah.
They're there to talk about politics, which is like, why are we talking about that?
Stupidest thing in the world.
I just want to learn techniques. And so you're wearing the Rideshare Guy hat.
Yeah.
What I like about Harry Campbell is all he cares about is techniques and technology and new ways that drivers can make money. And you are one of his correspondents.
Yeah, I'm his senior contributor. And I don't write anything but about strategy and how for the driver to make more money with these, crumbs that Uber and Lyft are offering these days. Because when I first started Uber, right? Okay. I call it shits and giggles. I would do it for 40 hours a week and make $3,000 a week.
What?
I have screenshots of it. I'll give it to you.
Starting in Granada Hills?
It didn't matter where I started because there was so much demand and there was not enough drivers.
What year was this?
Late 2016. $3,000 a week.
I felt like it was the
shits and
opposite.
giggles.
I felt like there was way too many drivers.
Oh, absolutely not. Not then. If you think if there were too many drivers then fast forward to 2019. I'll show you some screenshots with 8 Uber cars and 8 Lyft cars every corner of LA. That's when it's oversaturated.
You believe those screens?
100%. I use it constantly.
Interesting.
I use it to get the heck away from the ants.
So when you call them the ants too?
100%.
Because on this screen,
no shame in calling.
It's a derogatory term that some Uber drivers call the people on the screens because you can see all these little dots.
Yeah, they're on top of each other.
And if the screen is accurate,
Okay, hold on. Tom.
Go ahead.
Screen is not accurate.
Okay.
The reason is they only show you 8.
There's
every
more.
time. There's definitely more.
So
I challenge you to turn your Uber app on right now. I guarantee you will count 8 cars. They only show 8. They don't show all of them.
So if you know that there's 8, you should assume that there's more.
100%.
So you need to go to some place where you don't even see.
Yeah, but you can't because every corner had 8 and 8. 8 Ubers and 8 Lyfts.
So what's your technique then?
Oh, well, first of all, when I started doing rideshare, the first thing I did, I went to uberpeople.net, some of these Facebook pages. I'm reading comments. I wouldn't comment myself. So I go, I'm going to do this. Well, one of the reasons I got into Uber and Lyft was I had a good cabbie friend of mine. So just because I live here on Wall Street, this and that, I'm a humble person. Like, I value you for who you are as opposed to your jewelry or your car or whatever it is or where you live. So this cabbie friend of mine, Armenian, we're resourceful people. So he was a cabbie for 15 years before I even know him, and limo driver. So he knew the city of LA like the back of his hand. So one day he says, I'm going to buy you lunch. Let's talk about something. I go, what is it? He goes, I quit doing, I could do being a cabbie. I said, why? You're making good money. He goes, no, there's this thing that I'm doing now. I go, what is it? I go, it's Uber. I didn't even know what Uber was, honestly. Now we're talking like 2012, maybe 2013.
Right. So the very beginning.
Very beginning, yeah. And actually Uber came to LA in July 4th of 2010. So keep that date in mind. So I said, okay. I go, what are you doing? He goes, I do this thing called Uber. I go, what is it? He goes, I just drive drunks around. I go, what? Drive drunks around? Why? He goes, it's stupid money that I'm making. I go, what kind of money could it be driving drunks around? He shows me his, monthly receipts, and the first 2 years he made over $160,000.
Yeah, people were making good money back then.
No, I still talk to him, and he quit doing it because he got deactivated. That's fired lingo for your listeners. Uber does fire people. It's called deactivation.
Was he rude to passengers?
No. I have a lot of friends who got deactivated for...
A lot of friends?
A lot of friends. In fact, one of them even made to the news with my help. And Dara Kerr, who writes... Well, today she's writing for Markup, but she used to write for CNET. This poor friend of mine got deactivated because some passenger wanted to get her money back and claimed that my friend was drunk driving. And Uber is like the LAPD. They will shoot first, and then they will never escort, because there's an algorithm for that as well. So long story short, he got deactivated. And the reason he was deactivated is because he has COPD. He takes this, COPD is like the breathing problem. He used to be a heavy smoker. He used to take this cough syrup that emanated the smell of alcohol. And this woman, complained, and they deactivated him and never got back on the platform again.
Right.
So Uber does these nasty things to their drivers. But going back to my cabbie friend, he goes, why don't you do this as well? I go, I don't need it. I'm not going to do it. I go, I'm not going to drive drunks around, and waste my car to pieces. He goes, no. He goes, it's really good. Let me refer you, whatever. In those days, there were crazy referral fees.
$200.
No, more.
Yeah.
1,000, 1,200, 1,500.
So again, very early days.
Very early days, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I said, no, I'm not going to do it. And then it was like 2016, we're having dinner with some friends, and one of them said, this Uber thing, is like really growing. But I go, let me tell you something. This is nothing more than algorithms running the human race, basically. So I wanted to do like a little research and write a book called Uber Stories, because I wanted to just experience what's happening in my back seat.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Because it's fascinating, right?
It is fascinating. Because the people you get in your car, see, that's the most fun part about the business. Outside, if you can make good money, it's money. But
totally agree.
Right? Because you get all types, all shapes, all races, all behaviors, right? Especially if you're driving in drunk hours. Oh my God, right?
And they will tell you their whole life story.
No, yeah, that's when I categorized, after driving for like 6 months, I categorized drunks into 3 types. I used to do the drunk hours because it would surge and I would make like $60 an hour. So I would categorize them in 3 types of drunks. There is a sad drunk.
Yes.
There is a happy drunk, and there's a mad drunk.
Yes.
Right. So the sad ones are like, hey, what's up? What's happening? I'm like, oh, my boss fired me. My girlfriend jumped me. All this sad stuff, sob story. I'm like playing psychiatrist for half an hour or whatever, however long the ride was. The happy drunk was like the best. They just get in. We have a party in the car. I will never see you again. Get the heck out of my car.
Yes.
The mad ones were the trouble ones, because one word from you could trigger some ridiculous situation. And I've been into those a few times.
Tell me if this is true. I noticed, and dude, we are aligned on this. I noticed it became happy to sad to angry as the night went on.
100%.
Around 1 o'clock, maybe 12:30 at night, they were happy.
No, even before then.
Right, because they got their first ones in there.
Yeah.
There's still hope for the evening.
They're a little saucy, but, they're just fun.
You might get laid, like everything's good.
Yeah.
But then they don't get laid.
Yeah.
And they're sad.
Yeah. They're sad.
Or something bad happens at the club.
100%.
But then at 3 o'clock,
yeah,
maybe they did get laid, but it was bad.
Yeah, not only that, but also, the 3 to 4 o'clock hour is the walk of shame hour, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I...
which, by the way, I liked driving at that hour.
I hated driving at that hour.
Because there's no traffic at all.
No, I know, but even at 2 a.m., there's no traffic. So I dealt as well as I could with these, mad drunks.
Yeah.
Because things have gone sideways quite a few times, actually.
Absolutely. So let me ask you real quick. I feel like the worst thing that could happen to an Uber driver is somebody pukes in your car.
Yeah, it never happened to me.
How?
Never. From the first day. See, when I started, before I even started driving, I would buy my cab buddy lunch after lunch. I go, I want you to teach me all the tricks here, because when I get out there, I want to make, because he was like doing $80 an hour.
Yeah.
That's master plumber money. I mean, where are you going to make that kind of money on your own schedule on top of that?
Driving a dumb car.
Driving a Prius, whatever the heck he was driving. So I'm like, well, where can you make that kind of money? I go, you work 1 hour, you make $80. You work 2 hours, you make $160. I'm like, come on, man.
And you can cash out the next day and actually have that money.
Yeah, right away you can cash out. Plus gas was not like $8 or whatever it is now, right? So I'm like, so I go, I want you to show me all the tricks. So him being Armenian, he and this has nothing to do with our race, by the way. You know, we're very resourceful.
Sure sounds like it.
That sure sounds like it, yeah. Because we we try to figure all the tricks out before we do the trade, right? So there are tricks to driving Uber.
Absolutely.
You know, a lot of people think, you know, oh, that's a big deal. It's not rocket science. You get in a car, you drive. No, there is a super steep learning curve to be a really top 1% driver. Because everybody is slaving for like $12-18 an hour gross. After expenses, they're losing money. They don't know they're losing money, but they're losing money.
Give me one tip that if I started driving today, I need to start doing, and it will help me.
Okay. One tip would be always think this is not a 9-to-5 job. Drive only when and where there is demand. Period.
And when you say demand, you mean surge.
Not necessarily. Surge will come with demand. So surge is not a mythical creature. Surge will repeat itself.
How do I find out where there's demand?
You study. Mm-hmm. That's when studying comes into play.
Yes.
For the first 3 months as a newbie meaning new driver, when I drove, I must have taken hundreds of screenshots and printed them, and that process repeated, and the surge repeated pretty much about at the same time of every day on the weekdays.
So you believe in you don't believe that that Uber manipulates surges?
Nowadays they are.
Oh.
Nowadays they are, yeah. Nowadays they are, but in those days we had a multiplier. Multiplier meaning, you know, I could do 3x rides.
Yeah.
And the rates were a lot higher.
Yep.
So I would do I knew that between 7 and 9 a.m. there is a shit ton of rides going from Santa Monica to LAX.
Yes.
Every day of the week.
Do you want that ride?
Absolutely, I want that ride.
It seems relatively short, though.
Yeah, it's $60 for 8-10 miles. If you do it at 3x at $1.50 a mile.
So you would...
Or take the long route, go to 405, 105 if they're tourists, and that makes like a 25-mile ride.
Do you ever feel bad about that?
None whatsoever.
I felt bad once.
Because Uber ate the bill. The passenger did not. In those days, Uber never adjusted it.
Oh, that's right, because it was upfront.
Yeah, there wasn't upfront. It was by miles and minutes. When upfront showed up,
yeah,
right? When upfront showed up is when they would, long miling is a trick that a lot of drivers did.
Yeah.
Because it was worth long miling at $1.50 a mile.
Let's explain. If you picked up somebody at the Fairmont in Santa Monica.
Yep, let's do that.
Which is what, Wilshire and Ocean?
Wilshire and, Ocean.
You could take Lincoln to the airport.
100%. And it would take you the exact amount of time as if you were to take the 10 to the 405 to Century or to La Tijera, or 10 to the 405 to the 105 to Sepulveda.
Because Lincoln is impacted.
Lincoln is a disaster. Yeah.
A lot of traffic, but it's a straight shot.
Yep.
But you don't make any money as a driver doing that.
No.
Because most of the time you're just sitting.
Well, pretty much, yeah.
Or driving less than 10 miles an hour.
Let's just tell your listeners that, Uber pays by miles and minutes, just like a cab.
Right.
With a caveat here that Uber is nothing but a cab company with an app, as far as I'm concerned. 100%. They can say they're a transportation company, they're this, they're that, they're the best thing since sliced bread. Is garbage.
So taking the 10 to the 405 to Century.
Quicker.
It's quicker, but it's a lot longer as far as miles go.
Absolutely.
So the driver makes more money.
100%.
And and that's just one.
That's just one, but
so if
there's
you're
many
smart,
routes.
There's lots of ways that you can get from the forum to West
you
Hollywood
can take the 105 and add another 5 miles to it. But to me, the important thing is if you're going to LAX, what's the most important thing to you?
Get there on time.
ETA.
Yes.
Right, because you're about to get on a plane and you have a set time to get there. So if I can get you there 5 minutes faster than Lincoln, but I drive another 10 miles extra and make another $30 at 3x, I'm going to do it. I'm not doing any airport rides now.
Can you?
I don't want to do it.
Because once you get at the airport, it's not worth it?
Because they're shit. Because, okay, let me explain to you.
You don't want Granada Hills to LAX?
Absolutely not. I'm losing money on that ride.
Really?
At base rates?
Well, let's pretend there's a little surge, 1.5.
The little surge, there's no more 0.5. See, they took that away. Now there's a penny surge now. There's a flat rate surge.
So they say $8 if
and then when you turn your app on, it goes down to $4. They steal half of
really?
it. I have screenshots. From this weekend, I have screenshots.
Uber, why are you doing this to your people?
Because they're dumb.
Well, they'd say they're not our people.
Of course they're not. We're the so-called independent contractors.
But it's false advertising. If you think you're going to get an $8 bonus
well,
on this ride.
They got into trouble with that. They paid a hefty price for it, but then they're still doing it.
But okay, let's. What is the ride you want then?
The ride I want is the profitable ride.
You made $300 on Saturday.
$341 in 7 hours.
How many trips?
18.
I can't do
all
that.
18. All 18 were surge rides.
Surge meaning?
Surge meaning anywhere between $6 and $10.
And okay, so the $10 bonus one that you got, did it say 10 when you click the button?
No, when the request comes in, it shows you as 10. It could be higher.
10.
It says minimum of 10, but it could be higher.
Okay, so you take it.
Yeah.
Do you know nowadays where it's going to go before?
In California, to a point. In 20 or 24 cities, Uber just announced this new scheme.
Yeah.
Which they called it. Harry had this guy on the other day, Dennis Sinelli, their Uber head of marketing. Mm-hmm. He lies like every other executive lies at Uber. He goes, this is what we're going to do now. We're going to rebalance the rates. I'm going like, that refreshes, bad memories in my head. Because so every time you hear Uber say rebalance, transparent, and convenient, run.
Right.
It's a cut. Run.
Of course.
Yeah, because that's what happened. Every time they said that, that $3.25 a mile in 2010. Do you know what LA drivers get paid today?
Is it 80 cents now?
60 cents.
Mamma mia.
Yeah, mamma mia. You know what the IRS deduction is this year?
What's that?
58 and a half.
Okay.
So how many penny and a halves do I have left here? Are you kidding me,
bro? So you pick up this, you see a surge.
Yeah.
It says you're going to $10 bonus.
I get there before the surge happens because I know the patterns. Like I have a library of screenshots in my head.
You know where to go.
I know where to be before it happens.
Let me ask you this. I like to be near airports. Hotels.
I don't care about any of that.
Really?
None whatsoever.
You just know neighborhoods.
I know neighborhoods, when they're going to surge, what neighborhoods are going to surge, in what order.
Okay, so this $10...
So position yourself there before it surges.
These $10 surges.
Before all the ants go to sugar.
Hold on. You get this $10 surge.
Yeah.
You kind of know where it's going to go?
No. In California, I know where it's going to go.
You don't know where
I know where it's going to go.
You do know where it's going to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know how far the pickup is. I know how far the ride is. Great. I know the rating of the passenger, and I know their name.
Okay.
If they have a name.
Okay. Where do you want this $10 ride to go?
As short as possible.
Interesting.
I want to do shorty after shorty.
You want as many $10 bonuses as you can.
Absolutely.
Because that's worth more money than going out to Pacoima.
100%. Okay, let me explain to you. There is four.
I can't use that in Granada Hills because Pacoima is pretty close.
Pacoima is pretty close, yeah. But I have there's 4 matrix for the profitability score of a driver.
Yeah.
4. 1, door-to-door time.
Yes.
A lot of drivers lie to themselves. They look at app on time, which Uber will send you happily. Then now they broke it down to not only app on time or online time, they have an active time. Active time is from the time you accept a ride to the time you finish a ride, which is always going to be less than online time.
Yes.
And my fourth mate, for personally myself, which I do spreadsheets every time I drive, I still do it.
Wow.
Well, I can't do it any other way.
I'm amazed by you.
How do you do it otherwise? This is my small business.
I lose money.
Of course you lose money. If you don't do these things, you're going to lose money. So I'm my own small business. Okay.
But let's go back to you're going to pick up this person.
Yeah.
You're going to want the shortest ride ever.
100%. 10 to 12 minutes or less, or 15 minutes or
Also,
less.
I would imagine that a short ride allows you to get back.
I don't need to get back because it's going to keep me where the surge is at.
Because it's so short.
Yeah, because it's so short. Like pick up, here's my rule of thumbs. We'll never pick you up if you're more than a mile and a half away.
Yes.
We'll never pick you up if, these are my business rules for myself. For every driver, it should be this way. I will never pick you up if you're more than 5 minutes away. Mm-hmm. Because let some other sucker get you. And that's it, right? But
can I add to that?
yeah.
I won't pick you up if you live in the Hollywood Hills.
100% not.
Are there other neighborhoods that you won't pick people up in?
Probably, but I wouldn't tell you that.
Yeah. But the reason that we don't pick up people in the Hollywood Hills,
You can't get in, you can't get out. It's the Roach Motel up there.
Takes forever. And then when you get there, they pretend like, oh,
yeah, why are you
my
so late?
Uber's here?
Yeah.
I'll
And
be
then they
right
make
down.
you wait another 5 minutes in front of
And
the
then
door.
they text you to say, well, we'll be right down.
Yeah.
It's like, don't text me. That
Yeah,
takes time.
Be ready to go.
Be ready
Get
to go.
your ass in the car, buddy.
I love that we're together on that one. So you take these little short rides.
Yeah.
What happens if they're in the car, and they're like, oh, we're just picking up my girlfriend?
Excuse. I can't do stops.
Do you kick them out?
No, I can't do stops. Your final destination is your ride.
And that's it.
Because I have to go home.
What about
I have to pick up my son if it's during the day. I have to pick up my kids from school. I have a doctor's appointment. If it's middle of the night, 8 o'clock in Santa Monica, I have a dinner appointment. I have to be here. I'm here anyway, so thank you so much. Get the fuck out.
What's your rating, by the way?
4.96.
Look at you. Everybody loves you.
Everybody loves
Do you
you.
carry water in your car?
Absolutely not. Never did.
Phone chargers.
Oh, yeah. Well, it got stolen, actually. So now they're not going to get that either. I had an iPhone charger in the back. Somebody stole it. I go, no more.
How often do you wash your car?
Once every couple of weeks. In California, it's kind of easy to keep
So
it.
you're not trying to like
Couldn't
overdo
care
it?
less.
Because the passengers don't care?
Tony.
Yes, sir.
I'm an independent contractor. Remember?
Yes.
I'm in this for me. I'm not in it for the passenger. I'm not in it for Uber. I'm not in it for Lyft. I'm in it for me. I'm trying to make the most amount of money in the least amount of time.
Do you have a dash cam in your car?
Not yet.
Do you think that's a good idea for drivers?
In this day and age, absolutely. Because with all the carjackings and all the stabbings going on, absolutely.
Do you still drive after midnight?
Absolutely not. I make sure I'm home by 10.
Me too.
There's not a chance
There's
you
crazy
catch me
people
doing
out
it.
there.
There's not a chance you catch me driving anywhere past 10 o'clock.
Does your beautiful wife worry about you when you're out there driving?
No.
Do you care about traffic?
After all the stories she's heard, she goes, you know what you're doing. I'm not going to worry about
You
it.
got it.
Initially, she was like worried sick about it.
My mom couldn't believe I was doing
Yeah.
this.
She goes like, she would say like, okay, what's the first thing you heard as a child? Don't get in a stranger's car.
That's right.
That's what we do every day.
That's right.
We accept strangers in our private cars.
How about this traffic in L.A.?
Horrible.
Are you okay with it, though?
Absolutely. It makes the search better.
Do you use Waze?
No, 100% not.
Really?
Only Google.
You prefer Google?
Waze Google owns Waze. You know that, right?
Yeah, but I thought that Waze was
Yeah,
better.
but that was 4 years ago.
Oh, times have changed.
Yeah, times have changed. People's backyards have become freeways now, so it's not going to happen. Because Waze would make you do like 18 turns to save 4 seconds. I'm like, look, buddy, if you're in that kind of rush, you could have gotten in my car earlier. I have like a New York cabbie mentality when it comes to Uber and Lyft. So it's my car, it's my space. You're a guest in my car. It's my private car. Don't treat me like a chauffeur. You're a private chauffeur. It's not your car, or a GTFO, right? There's the door. So I'm like, hey, buddy. But I don't say these things. I'm very cordial. Like even on my bio and Uber, it says cordial, prompt, no nonsense, timely. Those are the 4 words I use for myself.
What music are you playing in your car?
None.
It's silent in your car?
Completely. I'd rather have a conversation for an RSG article.
Oh.
I hand you my card. I go, I'm not blowing smoke up your butt.
You have a card.
I'll give you one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Should Uber drivers have cards?
Absolutely. To poach rides, private rides.
That's a good idea.
100%.
Because you fall in love with each other. Why
Let's
not?
Let's not push that.
Well,
yeah. You're a good driver. You have a clean car. They live within 2 miles of your house.
So that's
They're
important.
business people. They go to LAX, come back from LAX all the time.
So why not just call you?
Uber is going to charge you $60, pay the driver 20.
Right.
Give me the $60. No, you know what? Better deal. I'll charge you 55. You save money, I make more money. I'll drop you off. Then okay, you have to understand something. I live in the suburbs, as you know, Granada Hills.
Beautiful suburbs.
Not too many rides out here, right?
Yeah.
I have to have tricks to get into the city center.
Yes.
Where all the action is. Well, I have ways to do that, of course. So one of the ways is having private rides, right?
Yes.
Early morning rides to LAX, 5:36. Get your ass up. If you want to make money, that's how you're going to do it.
Once you're at LAX, what do you do then?
Oh, 100% not wait there.
Where do you go?
5 miles up Lincoln, Marina del Rey.
You don't go to the beach communities.
South Manhattan?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I ask because I get frustrated down there because the rides are so short.
You don't want that. You want okay.
You just told me I do.
No. You don't want to go to Manhattan Beach. You want to go to Santa Monica
Because
because that's where the morning rush hour is about to start.
people aren't driving in Manhattan and Redondo.
Yeah, but that's south of the. But, okay, you have to also understand there is something called on Uber's incentive system.
Yeah.
It's called a CRB. I call it a CRB. It's called consecutive ride bonus.
Yes.
So basically, Uber's idea is you have to do 3 rides to get extra cash.
Yeah.
So when the pandemic was ending, August, September, when I started driving again,
Yeah.
because I didn't drive during the pandemic, didn't do food delivery, didn't do anything.
Good for you.
I didn't need it. So I don't want to get sick. But what I did was to get the drivers back, Uber was offering on top of a Quest, which is like a certain amount of rides.
40
you
rides
get, like,
for 300
40 rides
bucks.
for it. Yeah. So the best one I got to entice me back in was 20 rides for $250. Ooh.
But that means you cannot decline any rides, right?
Absolutely. I can decline all to my heart's desire. I don't have to do 20 in a row. I just got to do 20.
Really?
Oh, yeah. That's big money.
20 through the day.
No. Monday through Friday.
But it's a consecutive ride.
No. That's the addition. That's in addition to the Quest.
Forget the Quest for a second.
Quest is the 24 250.
I understand.
Right.
But you were saying 3 rides for a little bonus.
Not a little bonus. For $30.
But I can't deny any of those ones.
Well, no, once you accept the first one, you have to do 3 consecutive rides.
But you're willing to do that for $30.
Okay, let's do the math. 24 250. That's $12.50 per ride.
Yeah.
I'm ahead already. I haven't accepted any rides yet. Add the 3 consecutive rides, 3 for 30. That's another $10 per ride.
Yes.
So I'm up $22.50. I haven't accepted a ride yet. I do 1 shorty, 2 shorties, 3 shorties.
But how do you
In
know
1 hour.
How do you know they're going to be short though?
That's because I use my destination filter.
You can use those on the bonus things?
Absolutely.
You are a genius. Destination filter, by the way, Uber and Lyft allows you to have 3 or 4 in a day.
2.
2 in a day.
2 each.
Where you say,
2 on each platform.
I want to go in this direction.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't care.
No, there's tricks to that though. But
They do?
Oh, there's 100% tricks to that.
Okay, where can we read all your tricks? Because you are just full of knowledge.
And that Rideshare Guy.
You're giving away all these tricks.
They can't do it.
I'm sorry?
They can't do it. They read it, they still can't do it. By the way, I'm the LA rideshare coach for the Rideshare Guy. I coach people like this. Like they pay me like money and I coach them.
Well, I can see why.
Okay, but I only not coach him in LA. So I coached a guy, no joke, in Atlanta last week.
Yeah,
Told him exactly this because you know what? All cities have their own rhythm.
that's right.
But most of the time, they will not change. They all have major airports.
Yeah.
There'll be airport rides. There'll be morning rush hour. There'll be evening rush hour. There'll be weekend bar hops. These things don't change.
Right.
So the rhythm of a city, the layout may be different, but the rhythm doesn't change. A big city, especially.
Yeah.
So you do the same thing I'm doing in LA.
Yeah.
I did. I coached him for like an hour and a half. I can show you his screenshots. He goes, I cannot believe it. I just made $44 an hour doing what you just told me to do. In Atlanta, where this guy never grossed more than $25.
Right.
So whatever you pay me as a rideshare driver coach, you're going to get that money back in like 2 days or 3 days, maybe.
I've got a 2011 Benz.
Are they still allowing that?
That's what I'm asking you.
I don't know. I have to. Uber changes the list, so I don't know.
Should I get a rental car? Because the pros and cons
Because
of rentals.
I have an association with a rental car company called Drive Sally. So I look. Let me tell you this. Okay, if you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
you could get a rental with unlimited mileage.
Because the pros and cons of using a rental for Uber, especially through Uber,
Yeah.
is they'll pay for your insurance. They
Okay.
used to.
Okay.
The wear and tear, obviously.
Obviously, you don't care about that part. Yeah.
And you're beating up somebody else's car, not your own.
They're expensive.
They are.
Yeah.
But if I'm making
Like Uber and Lyft, Uber and Hertz came up with this Hertz Tesla Model 3 EV
Yeah.
Revolution, whatever.
Yeah.
A friend of mine did it. It cost him like $530 for the week. The car.
but you're making 300 in a day.
Yeah, but that's $530 a week just for the car. You have to work. You have to get 2 of those days. Look, you have to average 50.
I'm working 2 days just
50.
for the car.
You just pay the car.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's not worth it.
Okay.
A regular ICE internal combustion engine car is definitely worth it. If you're going to do a rental, you can get it
Like a Prius.
as low as no, like a regular rental, medium size.
But I want a Prius these days, don't I?
Not, honestly, these gas prices I don't think are making that much of a difference. Actually, it's helping the better drivers because it's creating a driver shortage again.
Interesting.
Yeah, because we did a survey on RSG and 53% said they're either totally quit or driving much less. To knock yourselves out.
This is rideshareguy.com.
This is rideshareguy.com.
And they should look for you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap this up with Armenian food.
Yes, do it. Wow, that's a big jump now.
I told you I'm a big jumper.
Okay, jump. Let's go.
I ate some raw beef at Carousel in Little Armenia.
The one in Hollywood or
Yes.
Glendale?
I don't remember because my mind was blown. It was Glendale. Actually, you're right. I thought it was supposed to be in Hollywood, and
Yeah.
I'm like, "Where's everybody?" They're like, "We're in Glendale." So I go to the Glendale,
About the
and
same.
they put this dish in front of me
Yeah, bloody red.
that looks just like raw beef
Yeah, it was.
with a little maybe cilantro or some green
Yeah,
stuff,
a little parsley. on it,
some
a little bit.
olive oil,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Is this
Am I
a
gonna
joke?
die?
Are you gonna? Is this a test to see if I'm cool?" It was delicious.
That's like the fear factor.
What was this incredible dish
It's
called?
called kibbeh. So it's not an Armenian dish actually. It's an Arabic dish, but it's mostly a Middle Eastern dish. I exactly don't know what it is. I've eaten it a million times.
Kibbet.
Kibbeh. With
Kibbeh.
that- yeah. Kebbe. Kibbeh.
I loved it.
Right. Oh, it was great. Yeah. But you know what? It's not just raw beef. There is obviously spices in there, but there is also bulgur wheat, like cracked wheat, we call it. Like it changes the texture a little bit, right? But it's wonderful.
Yeah.
But you have to eat that. Look, eating anything raw obviously could be dangerous to your health. Like you wouldn't do that with chicken, let's say, or pork.
Right.
But with quality meat, you can eat it raw, and you'll be fine.
What's an Armenian dish that I should try next?
Well, I don't know what you had, so
No, I'm saying, obviously, I'm thinking that this is Armenian. You're saying
Right.
it's not. It's Arabic.
yeah, it's not. But like, look, Armenian food is pretty much like any Middle Eastern food. Like if you ask an Armenian who invented the hummus,
Right.
they go, Israelis would jump, say, yeah, we did it. And then the Syrians would go, no, we did it before you did. It's just like, spaghetti was invented by the Chinese, not by Italians. So, but, there's no like
So
true history
Armenians
that
invented
I know.
hummus.
No, they didn't. I
Good
don't-
for you.
Yeah, no. I'm thinking if you're going to have true, authentic Armenian food,
Yes.
right? Find a mom and pop shop that makes none of this kebab stuff, because that exists everywhere. Like you can have a kebab now at California Chicken Cafe or whatever it is. I'm like, who cares? But if you want true, authentic Armenian food, like things like dolma. Dolma is like stuffed, grape leaves or stuffed zucchini and things like that. In Glendale, I'm sure, or in Hollywood for sure, you'll find this mom and pop restaurant that cooks what they eat at home, as opposed to your generic kebab this, kebab
Does
that.
does
Baba
Northridge
Ganoush and all the way.
or Granada Hills have any good Armenian?
Yeah, they have a couple. There used to be one called Olympia. I think they shut down. There's another kebab place there now. I think it's a Persian one. There are a couple spots, nothing majors. But if I want to eat Armenian food, right, I would go most likely to one of these names that you talked about, the Carousel, or there is a Syrian Armenian guy that's doing some wonderful Armenian food in Sherman Oaks, so I would go there. Van Owen and I forget the name of it. Sarkis's.
Sarkis.
Yeah, which is my actually, by the way, Armenian name.
Ah.
Yeah, I changed it to Sergio.
Where else do you like to eat here in Granada Hills?
I love food, by the way.
Great.
So as you can tell, I haven't missed too many meals.
You look fine. You look healthy.
Yeah, well, I haven't, but I'm also very critical of what I eat because
Good.
I am a chef. I went to culinary school for 3 years.
I do see a lot of
I
tools
can
in your
cook at
kitchen.
any restaurant I want, very comfortably, without chopping my fingers off.
And you have a giant box of Starbucks coffee on your
Yeah,
oven.
that came this weekend, and I was like, I love coffee. But so I am.
What's the best restaurant in Granada Hills?
Oh, that's a tough one.
No, it's easy.
Really?
Yes. President Barack Obama is here, and he's like,
Like
man,
not fast food, obviously.
no, and he's like, take me to a nice restaurant in Granada Hills.
Okay, right in the neighborhood. Again, I am horrible with names. I have a photographic memory. I can remember a face from 50 years ago, but I'm horrible with names. That's why I'm not in
One of the great
politics.
things about Uber is you have to learn the streets,
Yes.
which I love knowing
That's
the
one
streets
thing
now.
I loved about Uber, by
Yeah.
the way, because I went to places that I had never been in 30 years in LA.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
It is, which, by the way, inspired this podcast.
Okay, cool.
This podcast is about going to every neighborhood in LA.
Yep.
Because driving Uber, like you just said, you end up in every nook and cranny. And you look around and you say, I never thought this was like this. This is so beautiful. Or, Mamma Mia, this is not so beautiful.
Yeah.
But for the most part, wow, this is a cool place.
100%.
And these are beautiful people.
That I'm telling you, that's one of the perks of driving Uber. There aren't too many left.
Right.
At 60 cents a mile, honestly, you're just crumbs on the Uber and Lyft dinner
But
table
you
here.
have figured out how to turn those crumbs.
I figured the lemon into lemonade, no problem.
So give me a great place in Granada Hills.
I'm gonna tell you, but I have to Google the name now.
Well, describe it to me then.
Okay. There is a show on TV called Iron Chef.
Yes.
Okay. There was an American version of that. The kid who I think he was in the top 3.
Yeah.
About right when the pandemic was subsiding,
Yeah.
he opened the spot literally like a mile and a half from here.
Oh.
Yeah. He opened the spot on Chatsworth right here. Chatsworth and Zelza.
Zelza.
And Chatsworth.
What a good name.
Yeah, that's
And that's in Granada Hills?
that's in Granada Hills.
What kind of food?
I would say solid American food, but not your like typical burgers and stuff. Like you would get a great short rib there, or you would get, like really, actually for Granada Hills, pretty upscale,
Yeah.
right? The price is reasonable, but he started with like a little hole in the wall with just breakfast. Yesterday or the day before, when I was driving by to pick up my daughter from school, I go, holy crap, this guy took over like 3 stores in a row,
Yeah.
and now he's open for lunch and dinner, so we're definitely going to go visit that guy.
2 minutes. Tell me what the best thing is about raising kids in Granada Hills.
Best thing, great schools, public schools.
Ah.
Probably the top public schools in California, honestly. Although they're part of LAUSD, both my kids for elementary and now my daughter as well, they're all going to charter schools. Fantastic schooling, right? You can't beat that. I mean, I know public schools come with a little bit of stigma attached, but
Yeah.
wonderful schools. So that's number one. Number two is very safe. I mean, look where I live, right? I mean, who's going to come up here and kidnap my kid?
They've got to be looking for your kid to come all the way up here.
Another good thing is like
And skip a whole bunch of kids on the
I
way.
don't get trick-or-treaters here. Because by the time they walk up the hill, they're dead. So they want to try once and they don't want to come back here again. So no, they're wonderful. I mean, Granada Hills is wonderful. It has grown quite a bit. The breakdown of the population is changing. There used to be obviously a lot of Caucasian older white folks here, retired. Well, they're moving on because they can sell their house to an Armenian for $1.5 million that they never dreamed of they could. So that's
Right.
what they're doing now.
So the people on this block are paying about $1.5 million for these.
A minimum, yeah.
These are beautiful houses for them.
Yeah.
Do you get
So
coyotes?
you get a lot for your money here.
Do you get coyotes?
Absolutely. I get all kinds here.
Because you're really close to these mountains over here.
We're in the nature. I get coyotes. I've had 2 or 3 rattlesnakes in the backyard.
Wow.
And my tarantulas,
Whoa.
a lot of rabbits. I'm with nature here. I mean, I get all of them here.
Wow.
Yeah. And, I'm not afraid of those things, but my kids and my wife are absolutely deadly afraid of all the stuff. So I'm the Terminator or termite control guy here.
Sergio, this has been a pleasure. I'm going to go to Rideshare Guy. I'm going to read all your articles. I'm going to see if my Mercedes can still do the thing.
Well, we can do that on the podcast then.
And I hope everybody that's listening to this gets you as their driver.
Yeah, look, like I said to you on my bio, I said cordial, prompt, no nonsense, and timely. Those are me. If you want to talk to me, I'll talk to you. If you don't want to talk to me, get on your Facebook page and check your likes out. No problem. You have to ask for music for me to play it, because when you get in my car, there is no music. I'd rather have a conversation, because what we just did is lacking in this day and age in our lives a lot more than anything else.
Yes.
So let the algorithms run maybe 20 hours of your life and keep 4 for yourself.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
How great was Sergio? You know who we wouldn't mind getting stuck in an Uber pool with on a stop-and-go freeway? Our Patreons. When you stoke us, you're saying, Tony, Jordan, here's a tip for taking us somewhere we never expected. Here's some cash for a mic stand. Here's a little do-re-mi for a new Cubs hat for ye. Every donation you hand over keeps us in this insane project a-rolling. So shout out to Patreons, Nancy Rommelman, Sean Atlow, Matt Mills, Sean Wallace, Greg and Molly, Jamie Taylor, Mark Johnson, Kira Ann, Barney Granke, Ben Welsh, Henry Furman, Jen Adams, The Lonely Chair, Trevor Wilson, and Bree Wild. Want to hear your name at the end of next week's show? Go to patreon.com/hereinla and give till it hurts. Also, shout out to our Angelinos. To be an Angelino, just fork over $25 or more, and we will list you on our Here in LA website forever. You'll also be given a number to denote how early you got in to make this dream come alive. Angelino number 1 is Allie Miller, number 2 is George Wright, 3 Rita Joanne, 4 Jason Sutter, 5 Grant Houghton, 6 Rob Baker, 7 is Kev Chang, and 8 is Brenda Garcia. Just PayPal your hard-earned cash or Bitcoin to bustblog@gmail.com. Want to support us, but you bet it all on Duke and the NCAAs? No problemo. You can still help. Post your favorite episode on Facebook. Stick it on Twitter. Put 5 of them on Twitter. Tweet something nice about us. Tell your friends. Tell them how Here in LA is spelled. And then it's on Google and Apple and Spotify. Here in LA is produced by myself, Tony Pierce, and a man who always tips his Uber driver, Jordan Katz. Editing, mixing, and music supervision by Jordan Katz. Songs by Orgo and Jordan Katz. Special thanks to Cindy for creating this logo, Jen for inspiring this, and Harry, the Rideshare Guy. 5 stars!